So where are we? Where are we? Think, 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 think. Today is September 19th. It's nearly 10 months into my medical leave. Nearly 10 months into when I started this journey. I had a hunch, more than a hunch, an intuition, what was going to happen, and I knew what the prognosis was. I have turned off comments on a lot of my videos and on the live chat because I can no longer cope with people's invasion of boundaries and just the demand, the questions, as well as the trolling, because people are generally badly behaved on all fomentation media right now, and I'm not putting myself out there for that. I'm journaling because if I survive this, I want a timeline, a record of what I actually did to get through this. The process was, in all likelihood, I would be lucky to see Christmas this year. And I knew that starting my medical leave, and I processed that and came through with a new determination, a different attitude. And there were stages to that processing that were hard to go through. But now I'm at a point where I have been familiar with people that are also going through this disease at the same stage on Facebook and whatever. And it's not looking good for them, and you know, we're kind of watching each other and seeing each other fade. And I feel helpless for them. And I guess that's the way people feel towards me, that kind of helpless for me, for what I'm going through. That's not a nice feeling. But what I can say is that presence is really appreciated. When you've got someone that's present with you, that's not helpless. The fact that you're showing up, you don't have to say anything. There are no words. It's very easy when at this stage of the cancer, people can say funny things to you and it hurts. It's kind of insensitive. So I have to switch that off. Things like pain meds work, take the pills, can't you get painkillers, take some morphine, it works. Soursop broth, do this, do that. These are all the things that you generally don't want to say, the sufferer doesn't want to hear, because we are in the long haul. We're in the marathon. This isn't just like, oh, the soursop soup thingy, the painkillers worked and I feel better now and I can carry on. You have to maintain your energy day to day, over weeks, over months. And a painkiller, like, and soups and things like that, they work in the moment for what they're supposed to do, but when you're running the marathon, sensations become overwhelming. There's a lot of pain, there's a lot of weird stuff going on in the body as it's trying to digest tumors. The body can fight cancer. It does it all the time, and we don't know about it until we're too late and diagnosed, because something's wrong with the immune system. So the stage I'm at the moment, it's invaded my liver. It's invaded several places around my body. I'm losing weight quite rapidly. I'm trying not to. My oncologist told me, he said, took my hands and he said, I'm asking you now to not lose any more weight. And I know what he meant by that. So now the fight is really beginning, just beginning. The diagnostic process took too long. The recognition, the evaluation took too long. And now it's all over my body, and I haven't started the official treatment. So I've been managing everything on my own, and I've learned a lot about my body in that time, because the 8 months are spent researching anything that can help the symptoms. And you learn a lot about the body in the process. And for me, I learned that my liver was very slow. It's working like one step at a time, shuffling things around. And that causes a lot of backup and pulling up. And then you get liver assault, which is the most unbelievable pain. And you kind of realize when you're attacked with these liver pains that the best way to deal with liver pain is to not get it in the first place, and you adapt your diet, your eating habits. And eventually the liver is just slowing down until change of eating habits isn't working. So, and then you lose weight. And this is kind of the body's natural process to fighting cancer. The body knows how to fight cancer. We've just become deaf to it. And one has to wake up to those sensations and guide the body to heal itself. Because the body can do it. The body can digest tumors. And that is what I have been doing. So after my hip surgery to take out the diseased hip, my bone marrow went into overdrive. It got switched on and couldn't switch off. And after about 6 weeks, the bone marrow literally started boiling, like boiling stuff out of the bone, and the cancer was now just traveling everywhere in my body. And I mean, I wasn't scared of this because I've had this sensation before and I've got on top of it, but it took me a few months to get on top of that sensation. The trouble is, this insult to my body, the surgery was such a big insult to my body that the couldn't switch itself off. It, like, normally the immune system is there to just shut down. For some reason, these cells, once they're triggered, they won't switch off. They boil out of the bone and spread. And then I realized, hang on a minute, this thing's already in my liver. That's why it was slow. Huh, okay. So I know how to target my main tumors, the ones in my pelvic bowl. And I hadn't thought about how to target the liver because it's a very sensitive organ. I can't massage it too easily. So I'm like, I don't know how to target the tumor in my liver. Well, I just discovered it and it's working. Oh dear, my phone is overheating. I have to shut this down shortly. there is collateral damage whenever you attack a tumor and guide your immune system there. And the collateral damage for the liver is a lot of digestion fluid that comes out around the liver and snots up and then goes into the bowel and you pass it out. And it's not the normal poop. It's specifically related to the junk that's being digested into phlegm and comes out through the gut. And I can actually see this fluid leaking out of my liver. I don't want to get up right now, although I must because I want to show it, but at the same time, I'm kind of uncomfortable to do that. So maybe I'll see if I can get a photograph of it or a private video of it and insert that into another blog. So I've got the hot mat on a yoga block right now, and as I can bear. Wow. My phone is really overheating. I'm gonna have to sign off. But anyway, this is how I target my liver tumor. I've got the hot mat on a yoga block and I put as much weight as I can bear. I can put myself up with extra cushions and I just breathe through it. And eventually the heat helps to metabolize the tumors, break them down into this kind of soupy goo, and it can irritate the lungs and make you cough. Oh God, phlegm. It's so salty when it comes out. It's really salty because there's a lot of blood in it. So you taste that in the saliva when it comes from your stomach. And I've never had that sensation before. But with cancer, there are different smells and tastes in your body when you get a certain reaction that is good. So it's good to feel these. So I had this extremely salty sensation come up into my mouth. And at the time I had this liver pain and I was like, uh-oh, what was that? Now, when you digest food, a percentage of those micronutrients, especially nitrates, they go into the saliva and back up to your mouth, into the salivary glands and into your mouth. So if you get suddenly a pungent taste in your mouth, that is your liver processing, how can I put it? Your immune system is breaking down the tumor in the liver, and that breakdown process produces this fluid, and that's what you're tasting. So it tastes very salty because the digestion fluid is like phlegm and it tastes salty. It actually tastes very similar to the fluid that was coming out of my brain. And it's full of dead blood cells, so it's going to be salty. So, well, not blood cells, but the content of dead blood cells. So, yeah, this is painful. But it's okay because I'm just breathing through it. And I don't need to put all my weight on it. I can just put what I can bear with. And I have the hot mat set up to a middle temperature. It's 5. As hot as I can bear it. And then it gets nice and warm. And it actually enjoys it. And when I say my liver enjoys this, it does. It's such a relief because the liver has to generate heat. And when injured, it has a hard time generating heat. So you suffer with cold all the time and you get very cold feet. But when you're doing the work for it, it doesn't have to generate heat. It can just process. And it excites the process. It excites the processing. It's like agitating the processing and making it go a little faster. So I put the hot mat under my liver, under my chest like this. And I just don't have to put all my weight on it. I can stack myself on the cushions and just breathe through it. And it feels so good. Even though it's painful, it feels so good. It's like a relieving pain. It's like there's the end coming to it, the end of the pain. And when your immune system has run out of troops that it sends, because it sends from the spleen a bunch of soldiers that are pre-programmed to digest tumors, and they multiply in every lymph node until they reach the liver. So you have this mob that goes in to digest the tumor. When that wave has finished, it's done its job. When that wave of immune soldiers has done the cleanup job, it makes its way to the lymph nodes. And that process is painful because it's very snotty, it's very thick, it's got tumor debris in, you know? So you just go with it. You know, I can put more weight on it, but I don't want to do that. It makes the transit faster, but it's more uncomfortable. So I can just breathe through it. I don't have to put a weight. As long as there's an edge to make some tension on the diaphragm. You want a little bit of tension on the diaphragm, which is just, yeah. So nothing sharp. It shouldn't feel sharp. And if it feels stabby, you're doing it wrong. Okay, stop, slow down. Don't put much weight on it, pull it up. But this will prevent the stabby sensation, because sometimes when you get the liver pain, it feels like the tension is like across about as hard as the surface of a grape. And that is really painful, you know, that is like number 10 pain. So the hot mat avoids this. So what I'm doing is I'm actually fighting cancer. This is actually dissolving it, digesting it, and passing it out through my gut. So I'm not afraid of this pain, and this pain is just normal. And that goes back to what I said at the beginning of the video, was that I turned off the comments and the chat, because at this point in my cancer journey, it's very difficult for me to take questions and commentary that is parenting me. You know, you should do this, you should do that. Have you done this? Have you done that? Like, I've been on this journey for 8 months, and you're here in the comment field for 10 seconds and you're parenting me. I've been doing research. People that are as sick as me have been doing research. And it's very difficult for me to take comments of many kinds, because my mind is overwhelmed at this point with the fight, with the sensations and the discomfort. I'm going to call it discomfort rather than pain at this point, because it turns into unbearable pain if I'm not looking after it. If I'm nursing myself through like this, it's just discomfort, and I could go with it because that's my job right now. That's my job, is to digest and poo out the cancer. And it's a process. It's just like childbirth. You go through the labor pains. And I don't know whether to save that for another video. But when I realized I was going through the pains of labor, like, holy crap, I've been here before when I gave life. And women do it a couple of times in their lives. And the ones that do will recognize this pain. It's transitory. And that is such a relief to know that your body has kicked in and it's doing something natural. It's decided that the cancer is bad, it's seen it, it's got its name tag, it's no longer passing by the security guards anymore just because it has a name tag. So the security guards, the immune system detect it and it's fighting it. And that's what's causing the collateral damage and all the discomfort. So in the case of labor for childbearing, it's so similar because it comes in peristaltic tides and peristaltic waves. So I don't know what the average labor time is for a woman going into birth, but I once went through labor. My first child, it took me 36 hours of labor before I actually started childbirth. Exactly like this discomfort. It's the same discomfort. It comes in these peristaltic tides of contractions, like waves, and they can get pretty intense if the thick phlegm that's traveling through the lymph is too thick or particulate or kind of mushy, which a lot of the tumor debris is kind of mushy. It feels kind of mushy going through the fine capillaries and things. So it feels like you have acne in your belly, and I'm talking about cystic acne, like really painful inflammatory acne in your belly. That's what it feels like. And by the way, because it's like an inflammatory process, you'll get marks like this come up. Like, they're kind of concave, they're not proper boils, they're the immune system that has eaten away, because that's what the immune system does. It eats stuff up. So you get these like brown ulcers. And the reason why they're brown is because they're not inflammatory with no purpose. They're inflammatory and they're killing stuff that they think shouldn't be there. So I'm like, goodbye, good riddance, where you were. So it'll heal and there'll be newer skin. And strangely enough, I've actually noticed that my complexion has improved. So I must be healthy. And that's what a healthy body does. A healthy body can fight cancer. So with these sensations that I get a lot of hope. I get a lot of reassurance that I'm just running the marathon. I'm just running the marathon, and right now the cancer has outpaced me. So it's a daily struggle, but I'm talking now, I'm cognizant, I am consciously aware more than I was before. Before I was, after my birthday, I had a stroke and several seizures, and I was only subconsciously aware for most of the day. Couldn't sleep either, so I stayed in this subconscious state of like totally zoning out, looking into nothing, according to any onlooker. But I was very busy in there, even though I was with the fairies. And I was thinking about this cancer journey. And while I was in this subconscious state, it was beautiful. It was absolutely beautiful. It was heavenly. I understand what people see when they talk about heaven. It's in my mind. And I think there's another video based on what I saw. I'll have to do that another day because I do need to journal it. I guess this is what near-death experiences are like as well. Yeah, I don't have to go into describing what I saw right now. So I'll save that for a later video. What I wanted to document in this video was just an update, first of all, an update as to how far I've come on this cancer journey, what it was expected to end at, and where I am in relation to my peers who are going through the same. And I also mentioned able to emotionally cope. I'm unable to emotionally cope with people's comments and demand of any kind, so I just turn them off. So where I am now with respect to my peers who are also suffering similar cancer, and it kind of feels terrible knowing what I know, because I have a galaxy inside me that I can navigate because of my special skills, being inside my body, and I know that's rare. I know that other people have this. I know if it's common, but what I do know is that my peers are blind to this, and that hurts me because that makes me feel helpless. I wish I could communicate to them what's happening in their bodies and how to see it. It would give them so much hope. Can't do that, and I can't tell anyone now at this late stage, hey, you aren't seeing this, because that would be cruel. That would be like, you've done something wrong, and you must tell anyone with cancer that you mustn't imply that they are doing wrong by correcting them on what their belief system is. You know what I mean? It's like, that's your belief system, and I'm not going to correct it at this late stage. I'm not going to introduce a, you should have done this, you should have done that. I don't even want them to think about it. I just want them to feel safe. And the reason why I'm making this video is because my peers are out there with a few months to live, thinking they're gonna pry, hoping for people's prayers, possibly not realizing that their bodies are actually doing the good fight. And these are the symptoms. And I wanted to explain these are the symptoms and what they mean and why it's a good thing, so you can open up and feel grateful for these sensations. Because in feeling grateful for these sensations, it nourishes your brain with feel-good dopamine, which is the hormone you need to heal. So you have to kind of do this love. You have to kind of do this with love to yourself. You're loving yourself. You are treating yourself. And it's a good feeling, despite the discomfort. It's really strange. And this was my childbirth experience as well. I was in labor for 36 hours, the first child. And being in labor, I didn't feel pain. Everyone else would look at it as pain. I might be screaming, looking like I can't barely move, but my mind was full of peace. My mind was full of just looking forward to the future, because she was on her way. And that's how I feel about my life now. I feel like this isn't pain anymore. This is a channel. And at the end of the channel is going to be new life. And I'm so looking forward to that. Whatever the channel leads to. And if there's an accident and I don't make it, I'm being channeled, and that's the discomfort. It feels so good to know that I'm on the path. I can nourish my soul, I can nourish my mind and cope. And I can cope with the dysfunction because it's only temporary. And I hope this helps someone out there suffering with 3 months left to live. I hope this helps.